freezing up and shit. What's going on? Your feed's coming fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I could hear you the whole time.
I don't know why that thing it was like freezing up and shit wasn't actually going through like it's supposed to.
Well, right now, I'm trying to share this feed so that people on Facebook will see it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I mean, after getting rid of StreamYard because they started charging too much, and then to have this start having fucking problems on us.
Yep.
So,
But last night, Kate said she was having trouble with StreamYard
really?
streaming over. Yes.
Oh shit! I gotta get the comments over here. Okay, so
She said she was having trouble with StreamYard connecting to Facebook. So I think it's a Facebook thing.
oh, I don't know, but oh, trying to wake up a little bit more. I didn't get my nap today. Oh. So I got us an interesting topic because about a week ago, this article came out and it says researchers study life after death and it gets weirder. That was like the headline. Okay.
Yeah.
And it said life and death are traditionally viewed as opposites. However, the emergence of a new multicellular life forms from the cells of a dead organism introduces a third state
Hmm.
that lies beyond the traditional boundaries of life and death. So, what do you think about that? You know, they they think they've kind of proven life after death.
Possibly, but the thing is,
Usually, scientists consider death to be the irreversible halt of the functioning of an organism as a whole. However, practices such as organ donation highlight how organs, tissues, and cells can continue to function even after an organism's demise. The resilience raises the question: what
what mechanism?
mechanism, thank you, allows certain cells to keep working after an organism had died?
After an orgasm has died.
Yeah, I was careful not to make that mistake.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I mean, okay, physical material matter that the body is made out of are that is the cells. See, that can be destroyed. That can be created. That can be whatever put together. The energy is what can't be destroyed or created. Okay, so that would be the soul in the person or in the animal or whatever. That's the energy. The energy is the soul. The organism itself, as long as the energy is present, therefore um, keeping the heart on ice and putting it into a new a host body. That host body's energy takes that heart and keeps it going, and it'll incorporate itself into that new heart. Same with lungs, same with kidneys, liver, stuff like that. As long as you can maintain an energy flow into those cells, they'll stay viable and stay what is science considers alive.
Right. And that allows for all the organ transplants that goes on.
Exactly, exactly.
But now
Now,
this
if you've got a say you've got a body and they're showing activity in those cells after the soul or the energy was released from that body, and as in death, that body's no longer functioning, then that could be residual energy causing those cell growths. Because they do say, science does say that the human brain stays active up to 10 minutes after death.
It makes you wonder, you know. And they say, all right, so researchers who investigate what happens within organisms after they die, in their recent published review, they describe how certain cells, when provided with nutrients, oxygen, bioelectricity, or biochemical cues, have the capacity to transform into multicellular organisms with new functions after death. The third state challenges how scientists typically understand cell behavior, while caterpillars metamorphosing into butterflies or tadpoles evolving into frogs may be a familiar developmental transformation. There are few incidents
Incidences.
when where organisms change in ways they are not predetermined. Tumors and cell lines that can indefinitely divide in a petri dish like HeLa cells are not considered part of the third state because they do not develop new functions. Somebody's, oh, whatever. Was that directly to me? No.
I don't know.
All right. I don't know. But this goes on and on. But people have believed in life after death for a long time, for generations now, before this science came out, even, you know, because they
Hmm.
believe the soul doesn't die with the body. So therefore, you can have what's that called, resurrections or reincarnation. That's it.
Reincarnations, yes.
Or past lives, like But it's an interesting topic, but it's also a scary topic at the same time because a lot of people think that when you die, and this is the scariest thought for me, it's game over. That's it,
No.
you know. But that thought is a very scary thought in reality, if you think about it. But there are a lot of religious uh, religions and and other things that believe you get reincarnated,
Yeah.
or the soul doesn't die with the body. The
No,
soul
the
lives
soul
on.
doesn't die with the body. I've told you that.
You
I
know.
just got through telling you that.
Well, I'm just saying this is like kind of an interesting subject, and it's too bad we can't.
Because the soul is made up of energy. And energy cannot be destroyed and it cannot be created. It only changes form. Matter can be destroyed. Matter can be created. Matter can be created into. It can be made into um, um, energy.
you know. And it's like, you know, so you think about all these different ways that they say that life lives on. People that have had things like me, where I was in that state where they were trying to
Hmm.
bring me back to life and using those paddles, where I had like an out of body experience, and it's it's hard not to believe in this stuff after you have something like that happen, because it was like so real. You could hear all the sounds around you. You could. It was like you went into another room area of the hospital, and you could see what's going on, but you're like looking down on it. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You've already experienced that, so you kind of have an idea of what to expect.
But at the same time, the thing is,
It's not game over though. That's the
it's
thing. I don't
still
know why
that
people
thought
think that.
still lingers that it's game over. You know, that's it. I keep trying to say I'm going to live forever. You
Eh,
know,
well, in a way, we do live forever. It's just as different people.
but let's just say, no, for example, I would like, it'd be very one of those, I guess, iffy things to talk about. But I'd like to see if somebody could see, like hypnotize you or something. And I have a hard time believing in that stuff.
Yeah, good luck with
But
that. I've had professionals try it. They can't.
but to see if you lived any past lives and what you did, what it was, or because I think that sometimes that's what deja vu is. You get this real, like, let's
Hmm.
say you've never ever been to this state or this house or this building, but yet the first time you ever go there, you're like serious deja vu, and it's like you can almost describe, oh, this there's a hallway that goes down to there and it goes into another room over here, the kitchen's over there. You can pretty much lay out the whole building. you know it's like you've been there before, but how do you explain that now? you
Yeah.
know or let's say
People
you
think people people say deja vu is memories of a past life.
right.
Some people do.
Some people do, but it would make sense. But then there's this thing where, like, let's say I had a really good dream last night, okay, and let's say I was, dreaming that I was somewhere else, in
Hmm.
time and in, maybe another state altogether, another country, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you wake up, you remember some of it, and you go to find that place to see if it really exists. And let's say you find it. I gotta get a soda. I'll be right back.
Oh, so you're just leaving me hanging. And nobody to talk to. He's got to get a soda because he couldn't be organized to have one before he sat down. But no, it's just that people say that deja vu is memories surfacing from a past life, and it could be true. Okay, I've actually had prophetic dreams where I would dream of what would actually happen the following day, and there would be something that would trigger a memory of that dream, and I'd be able to tell you what was happening or going to happen within about 10, 15 seconds more, prior, ahead of where we were.
Yeah,
With that,
that kind of
but it's
thing for
called,
me is
you
like
know,
kind of like
they call that
Groundhog
deja
Day.
vu.
You know, I've had that kind of like Groundhog Day type movie moment where I fall asleep
And
and
you
the
wake
next
up
thing you
to,
know,
I got you, babe.
yeah, yeah,
I
I'd be worried about that though. Trapped in the
think
'70s.
I'll come over there and I'm gonna program your your Google
But you sit there,
to wake you up every morning playing "I Got You, Babe" from
but
some
you
new
have
show.
one of those dreams, like you said, that you can kind of remember, you know, and it's like you you had a conversation in your dream and all of this, and the next thing you know, there's that serious deja vu moment of that dream because you're actually going through those moments that you dreamed about just before, the
Hmm.
night before or
Yeah,
2 nights before, you know,
and
same
I have done that.
conversation to the point where you know what the person was going to say next. You got to answer that phone.
Hello,
It was
hello.
probably a spam call, but then she lets it go to the answering machine and they hang up and annoying. She knows I was
Yeah,
doing a podcast. Could have just picked it up and hung up, boom, boom. But, I've had those, where it's like, you sit there and you go through the motion and then you're just going through the motions all that next day. Remember, you can almost like it's not coming quick enough though to you where
hmm,
you can say, "Oh, I know what you're going to say next," but it triggers as a person saying it. You know, it's a weird thing. I just thought it was an interesting subject because you know it's been a while since I've seen anything come across scientific pages or paranormal news things that I follow and stuff that talked about like life after death. I mean, people have believed in it for long before we were born. I mean, ancient times. I mean,
yeah.
let's go back. That's why one of the reasons that they uh, mummified the bodies, in Egypt and stuff. It's fucking there's a lot of shit. People believing that they can trap your soul or steal your soul from you. There's what would that be called? Oh, like voodoo or stuff like that. You know, me, I don't know. I believe if there's life after death, or if there's like you get resurrected or something. I'd like to believe karma has a role in that somewhere. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, let's say you're a real jerk or like somebody like you know a serial killer or rapist or something, and you get resurrected as like a dung beetle or some shit, or so you don't even become human next. I mean, that would be
And that's the thing, supposedly we have a choice of what to be when we come back. We even have a choice of whether to be reborn on this planet that we're on now, which is Earth, or reborn as a different species somewhere else and experience life in a different planet.
I don't know.
There are millions, there are billions of planets.
I've never thought about that. You know, I figure I'm gonna live as a vampire. You know, I'm gonna live to be 300 plus years old.
I'd rather be a Lycan.
Well, I kind of think about this. If you look at my hair right now, all the gray is right here mostly. Now, most of the men in my family on both sides went
Hmm.
gray very early in life, like their mid 30s. They'd start had losing their hair or go gray, right?
Yeah.
Here, I get all go through all of this, and it's like all those, not just the blood, but I think some of the stuff that makes up my body got like reborn in a way. Some of the cells got reborn in a way. So I'm not going to
Maybe.
go gray till
Never
much
know.
later. I'm not. Yeah, I got some joint issues and stuff, but that's all from the chemo. But it's like most people my age look a lot older than they do, than they are. I should have had a head full of gray hair by now.
Well, you never know. You might turn gray tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Who's to say?
Then there was another thing I remember reading a long time ago, and I don't know if it's still true. Science is it made a lot of advancements over the years and decades, right? This was like back in, before the chemo and the
Hmm.
radiation stuff. I read that the humans, us, only use a very small percentage of their brain
Well, yeah. It's always been thought that we only use 10% of our brain.
or less. Hello, welcome to the show. Glad you found us. It's just too bad we can't go to Facebook and stuff. We're having issues right now.
Hey, Angela.
Well, what we use to
Well,
stream is having issues.
yeah, and the
Well,
thing is, too, another person last night was having issues with the other streaming service we used to use.
yeah, I think it's Facebook. But you know what? What do you think? If we only use like a small percentage of this, and let's say Einstein, being one of the smartest historical figures known right now, you know, only used like had maybe double the capacity used, like maybe
Yeah.
20%, and he was considered a fucking genius, right? Could you imagine if you were able to harness the entire capacity of your brain?
It would be pretty interesting, I think.
I mean, can you imagine the things you could possibly do?
Well, if you can harness the full capacity of your brain, you would also have that. I think you'd also be able to unlock the abilities to have telepathy and possible psychokinesis and all kinds of things. But supposedly we all do have telepathy. And it's kind of been proven because during our generation, how did our parents know when they didn't communicate with our friends' parents all the time? How'd they know what we were up to?
Oh, well, that's easy. Just the way the kids behave when they come home. I mean, think about it. I mean, who knows you the best when you're growing up? Your parents. Who knows your behaviors the best? You know,
Yeah,
you can't hide things from your parents. I learned that. I mean, I
tough
I,
time.
I tried, but I learned later in life. My mom knew everything, pretty much. You know,
Moms, yeah, that's the thing. Moms normally knew, and moms had this uncanny way of.
but it's like also, let's say it's also here we are. We met. Two complete strangers 18 years
Mhm.
ago. We've been married for 14 years, Tanya and I. And next thing you know, I say the exact same thing that she's about to say before she says it, like I'm reading her mind. That happens quite a bit.
Mhm.
You develop, I don't know, like a sixth sense or something, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it is strange. I mean, my mom knew things, and, there's no way she was talking to this person's parents to find out, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's kind of.
And that unique ability, it seems like a lot of moms have, you know.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, but that's what I mean. I mean,
My
how they
dad
act
was my
on
dad
it.
was like oblivious. My stepfather, he was oblivious unless my mom spoke up, you know. So I mean, that's like a mother thing or a female thing, you know. It's like some kind of gift. It's like you're not born with a direction book, a book of directions or instructions. They have to learn as they go. You know.
Right.
You know. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting subject.
Well, no, it is. I mean, it's just there's a lot of hidden. You know, try to find the right word there. Uh, there's a lot of unexplainables in life, and man has done the best he can to explain it. So there's not much more we can actually do except for do the best we can to explain.
Yeah.
And that's part of doing the studies and experiments. You do experiments and studies, and then you take your data from the results of that, and you try to figure out what's left. You figure out what's there.
Yeah.
Man, I feel
Well,
like I'm rambling for some reason.
the more the more technology advances, the more we're going to learn about a lot of things. I mean, they're discovering new species all the time, and
Yeah, and there's species going extinct all the time as well.
and and then you've got, because everybody's got a computer in their pocket and a camera in their pocket. You've got people taking more and more pictures of like UFOs.
Yeah.
You know, a mutual friend of ours keeps sending me pictures,
Hmm.
and
I know who you're talking about.
the pictures are very interesting. Some of them we could easily debunk really quick, um, but every time I've made arrangements to go out and talk to this person, and he's never shown up. So
No.
I'm not going to waste my time. You know, I mean, I've tried because he did have, I mean, you got to agree with me on some of those pictures that he showed us in the past. They were pretty interesting, but
Some of them.
it was enough to say, okay, I want to go to the location you got these pictures at because I want to, because then you can kind of you got a better idea of if it's real, if you can debunk it, maybe it's something else. There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
especially in a big city like Madison. There's a lot of things that could cause interference. It's not like he's out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere taking these pictures. You know, where there's no airport or anything for miles, or you know, so. But then, you got to think about this too because he's again in a big city. The technology's gotten so good that, and like I said in a previous podcast, you know, the better technology gets, the cheaper the older technology gets, right? So because new stuff comes out, it's more expensive, and then they cut prices on everything below that. So now everybody can have and afford a drone, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we've proven that. I mean, you found a $300 drone for like
For
70
$60.
bucks. Yeah,
60 bucks.
69 bucks. But still, that makes that, everyone can have one now. So how do you know that, that could be a drone up there at night? Because they've got night vision now too, some of them.
Yeah. No, it's the cameras. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the better the technology gets, the cheaper it gets, and the more it's available to the general public. My cable's starting to fall.
Your cable. What
Yeah,
cable?
I got an Ethernet cable going from one side of the room to the other, but
Oh, I got
I got it up on the roof instead of running because last
in the
time
ceiling.
it got chewed through.
I gotta do that tomorrow. I gotta work on
So I've kind of got it duct taped to the ceiling.
putting my cable through.
Oh yeah, I do that too. But here, like I said, you know, but anyway, with technology getting that, everybody getting technology's getting more affordable, so everybody's going to have something like that, you know,
Yeah.
and so you got to be real careful when looking at some of these pictures, you know.
Yes, I know.
Because now there's a lot more.
Because you're not sure if it's real or not.
Well, that plus, it could be a drone that he caught.
True.
you know, uh, it means that means there's just that much more in the skies that can be caught on camera.
True.
You know,
Very true.
it's
Well, it's like okay, Joe. It's like the other night, okay, or the other well, not night, but the other morning before the sun even came up. I had to get up and go to work, And I walk out the front door and I go and put my stuff in the van and before I walk around the van, I just kind of look up, just like straight up in the sky. Okay. Now you know the orientation of my house. My
yeah,
front door faces south, right?
yeah,
Okay. And you know that the orientation of objects that they got in the sky circling this planet, they don't circle north to south. They orbit north to south. They orbit east to west or west east, whatever.
hmm
Um, I seen something that was way far up, further than it had to be in the outer atmosphere. Okay, it had to be in space. It was a light, and it was traveling extremely fast, and it was going from north to south.
hmm.
Yeah, and by the time I grabbed my phone to try and get a video of it, it was already gone. But nothing. We don't have anything that I know of that they orbit north to south. It's
Uh,
always
see,
around the center of the Earth, the equator part.
right, and see that's not where I've done a lot of my research, so I can't always say, but I mean, I've seen some strange shit, and then after thinking about it, man, some of it can be explained, some of it not at all. You know, there's been weird glowing lights out here, and I know where the farm is. That's like off my porch area. You know, and it
Yeah,
faces that little lake like thing or pond as you call it.
it's a
Um,
pond.
there's a farmer's field back there behind the tree line, right? Well, his farm is, many acres deep back in that. But I can see, at night, his house lights on. You can see the barn lights, all the lights. And then there's a tower not too far from his barn. And it's got uh, it, the red light on the top for planes.
Yeah,
Because there's an airport over by Walmart here in Watertown, right? So, all that being said, I've seen some kind of strange stuff up in the skies over in that area,
right.
and I was able to later explain it a couple of times because one of the blue blue lights that I saw, well, it was so fucking bright. It was a house down the way that had like one of those big spotlight type lights or whatever, or how what I'm talking
Yeah,
about, the that'll light up your whole fucking yard. But he had a blue one, and it was pointing upwards. you know. But I found that out a couple of days later because we were driving down CW that way, and
yeah,
there it was. But then I saw like a couple, two, three orange lights higher up in the sky. Those have still yet to be explained. You know, I mean, out in the country, it's a little different than living in the city like I used to live. Where you could judge well, you knew exactly what everything was. But when you don't have a whole lot of street lights and city lights, these brighter house lights can carry a further distance. You can see them for further away when you're out in the country like this. Kind. Does that make sense? You can see the light.
yeah.
It's like if I was in Madison, I ain't going to see a light on 3 houses down because there's too many lights on between here and there. You know,
You
but
know, honestly, again, I'll say it. I've said it before. I love my house. I absolutely love this house. It's awesome. I actually have activity in this house. Okay, I have there are at least three spirits in this house, and they like making noises. They like doing stupid shit. I've been sitting here watching movies, and it actually sounds like Lisa's walking back and forth from the bathroom to the bedroom, and she's downstairs. It sounds like she's walking out in this little hall area here. But the thing is, I would love to be more in the country where there's less light pollution, so I could see the sky better. you know,
yeah, it is nice. I do like that part of it. You know, I mean, on a clear night out here, man, you look up, straight up, nothing but fucking stars. You know, it's amazing out here. I mean, that's the only thing I like about being out here. You know, if this place was in much better shape and maybe had a like a basement foundation to it, I could tolerate living out here more. You know,
yeah.
longer, whatever. But it is nice, you know, and neighbors around here, they don't bother me. You know, I get along with just about anybody, but you know, nobody bothers us
Oh,
out here.
we've got pretty nice neighbors here too. I mean,
But being in Madison, I'll never go back. Never. Because you can't trust half the people in that town. You know.
yeah.
You know, I thought I hated living in Oregon because everybody knew everybody's business and so on and so forth. But now I realize why my dad liked it so much. You know, I mean, we used to joke that there was only one cop on duty any given night. You know,
Out in Oregon.
yeah. I mean, it was a much. It wasn't as populated as it is now because I've been. You know, last time I went out there for the Maria's Pizza and stuff, there was a lot of these. They didn't even have a Dean Care out there. You know, they didn't have a lot of this stuff out there. There was no Walgreens. You know,
Hmm.
you just had you know, like a local grocery store type pharmacy, or yeah, it was just a local pharmacy in the strip mall. You know, there was no Walgreens. There was, there was a lot less than there is now. Everybody knew everybody. I mean, if I would have left my bike out in my yard or something in Madison, it would have gotten stolen back then. Even in the 80s, it would have gotten
Hmm.
stolen. Okay. I left my bike at the Ben Franklin for like 3 days, and it wasn't locked up either to the bike rack. And I came back and it was still there. You know, if I'd have done that in Madison, it'd have been stolen. You know, that second or first day. You know, but it's a lot quieter out here. You could back then you could look up, and even in Oregon back then you could look up and see the sky. It was really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, you get a bit of there's a bit of light pollution there in Oregon now.
Yeah, there is. But when I was living there, it was a lot less than it is now. Because where I lived, all I had to do was you had to is like walk over to like the junior high parking lot
Hmm.
or out to the football field for the middle school there and look straight up, you know, because you had like the on the one side of the road, I can't even remember the name of the road, but uh, the school property. The other side of the road there was like a wildlife preserve type thing or something. So it was like a marsh area with trails. So that wasn't lit up. So you didn't have a lot of housing around that kind of football field area and playground area of that entire school until you got up to the swimming pool, the outdoor swimming pool that was behind the elementary school. That's where the most lights was.
Yeah.
Now that whole area, because they have the Oregon Festival, carnival, those small town carnivals and stuff. In the parking lot of the junior high and middle school out there, that whole area has been built up. It's amazing how quick some things build up. The town doesn't look anything. Hell, the west side of Madison doesn't even look the same when I grew up out there. There was nothing behind West Town Mall going down Mineral Point
Yeah.
except the one cemetery, and you got down to Steve's Liquor, and then there was a bar there, and the rest of it was like farmland or fields. That's it. All of that stuff on Mineral Point Road, everything behind West Town Mall. And the other thing that was there up on Big Sky Drive was the drive-in too. But it all changed, and it changed fast. You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anyway, so this was like a shitty year. I don't know if we're going to get out to do any more investigations or not. Not a whole lot of places we can go.
Well, I don't know.
We got to get the
I've
truck.
been I've been working my ass off and
Yeah,
not having a whole lot of time.
we got to get the heater in the truck fixed before we can even think about anything like that.
Hmm.
So we're going to get through the Halloween season, which is the end of this next month coming up, and then I'll start booking guests. Uh, so in the meantime, we got to try to come up with topics every week.
I would actually like to get things organized in my garage and turn that into a haunted house because I do have that back door you can go out as well.
You know what? Oh, that would. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hmm.
That would be fucking brilliant. And it'd take a lot because you could rope it inside to hang tarp,
Yeah.
or so that you don't, put a bunch of like staples in the wood and stuff. Um, I'm trying to see when is the 31st. Oh, it's a Thursday. Halloween's on a Thursday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so I don't know what day they're actually gonna celebrate it. And I actually Thursdays are great for me because I have Thursdays off.
Yeah, you come get me. I'll bring my fog machine, my little things that light up and stuff. we'll
I don't have a lot of. I don't have decorations and stuff like I used to.
well, we start out small, you know. Start out small like we used to. You know, we also made stuff. So,
I know we used to make stuff too, but I'm just saying.
or we shoot for next year. That way, it gives us time to raid the Halloween stores when Halloween's over this year.
Yeah.
And next year we could kind of make a big deal out of it. Oh, yeah, that would be perfect. Eh, I got an idea. This is brilliant. Fucking brilliant idea. We do the haunted house, and and we go live from the haunted house at one point, right? You get the kids' just reaction and stuff. Now that would be cool.
Yeah. That'd
So,
be interesting to do.
no, I'm in to do that again. But anyway, everybody, stay safe. Have a great weekend. And remember, anything's possible.